Zdravo svima. Welcome to the new episode. Ja sam Nikola i ovdje je.
Ovdje je Maki, zdravo.
Kako si, Maki?
Super sam, hvala. A ti, Nikola?
Dobro, nije loše.
Yeah.
Um, Today we're doing like a recap of everything we did so far.
hmm
And we can give also advices what would be the best steps and steps to take when learning a language or Serbian specifically. By
hmm
yourself, I guess. How can you improve
Yeah.
Serbian?
Went so fast for me to do ten episodes for each podcast we did, so almost 20. This is 19, I guess. And to be honest, this was really useful for me. And I'm sure, and I see sometimes people send me comments like they find it really useful. But as the tradition goes, every 10 episodes, we make a break and we come up with new ideas and then we continue. That's how it goes. So let's do some recap with you, Nicola.
Okay. So we can start with major topics we covered.
Yeah.
First, we started one of the first things, self-introduction in
hmm
Serbian. Um,
Yes.
and we talked about like like the most frequent ways and phrases you can use to introduce
hmm
yourself.
And the good thing was, in my opinion, that I hadn't tried before, like to have the same thing in three levels: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And we
Yeah,
started with this, and I think that's very useful. I haven't seen such a resource somewhere else, and I think it's nice for the listeners to go back and when they feel more confident to pay more attention to the intermediate one than advanced one. So
exactly.
it's going to be useful for some time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, because you can expand your sentence with more structure, grammar structure, and more complex syntax
hmm
yourself. You can try writing beginner, intermediate, and advanced text, depending on your
hmm
level.
Exactly.
We talked about habits and hobbies. So that's one
Yes.
of the things you can do at beginner level, at least. Talk about the things you like to do.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a
and
very good conversation starter. Like, what are you into? What have you been doing these
exactly.
days? So that's why it's very essential to know how to talk about your habits and hobbies in Serbian. So that episode is also one of my favorites.
Yes. Or to talk about your works. You're often hear
Mhm.
like, what do you do? Čime se baviš? Šta radiš?
Well,
So that also helps.
exactly.
Um, we had practical dialogues in different situations.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
that was on,
restaurants,
yeah,
cafes. Yeah.
yes. Ordering, buying, asking for stuff, which is very
hmm
useful.
And
Um,
believe me, I keep revising them again and again because it's so easy to forget, like the little details about the question. So it's always, I think, good to have it there all the time.
there is always some phrases
Yeah,
to learn, like practical phrases that only make sense in specific context and situations.
yeah.
So there you
Yeah,
go.
you need to make peace with it. You need to keep learning that and
Exactly.
experiencing it.
Yes. Um, we talked about Serbian dialects and we had a
That was
quiz.
that was one of my favorites actually, because
Yeah.
I really wanted to test one Serbian to see if the dialects are real, or I knew
Yeah.
they were real, but if they were really that different. And you proved that it's
Yeah.
easy to see to understand where people are from. So
hmm
it was really fun. And I think that episode is also, very useful to people to understand some sounds and like chichu and how they prolong the like some vowels in general. So it was
Exactly.
really eye-opening for me.
Yes. So there's a lot of differences. And some, like most of probably foreigners that learn Serbian could not can be confused if they talk with someone that only speaks in that dialect.
hmm
But it's still, again, the grammar structure is mostly the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We did impromptu speaking. So
Ah,
how to answer spontaneously to questions and to just talk with someone. And that's the goal of when learning a language. Um, it's important to be able to spontaneously make your own sentences, not just to repeat phrases that you
Hmm.
learn. So it's okay to know some practical phrases and like in practical situations, but
Hmm.
um, the point of learning a language is to spontaneously make
Exactly.
sentence.
But even in spontaneous answers, you might have at least some kind of template in your mind. That's what we also try to
Exactly.
add. Like, tell your opinion, tell the other opinion that you might disagree with, or share examples after you tell opinion from your own life or from somebody else's life. So it was a good structure to go over, I think. And the
Yes.
same structure can be applied to many topics.
Yes. And it's important to know like grammar structures that you can use.
Hmm.
And like methods. You don't have to memorize stuff by hard that much. You
Yeah.
just learn a method of using like words and you just change them in your sentence. That's the goal.
Exactly. Was very useful too. Of
Mhm.
course, a Može Kafa without coffee culture would make no sense. So we added one more episode about coffee culture in Serbia with you, even though
Yes.
I touched upon that topic a lot. It was fun. It's always nice. It was, for example, interesting for me to see that you're not that familiar with some of the phrases. For example, Ivana was familiar. Like it was
Hmm.
nice to see the cultural differences in Serbia for me.
Yeah, that's good. So,
Yeah.
do you want to do a quiz now? To
Yes, let's have a little quiz for everyone, but I will be answering the questions on behalf of our listeners, but we will give some time for them to say their answer.
Mhm. So you have some questions here regarding Serbia and Serbian culture and
Yeah.
language. So let's start with the first one. So I will read the question. You have options. You can
Hmm.
answer. In the meantime, our listeners can also think of their own answer. And
Yes.
I'll say
Okay.
what's correct, I guess.
Yeah.
So, which Serbian word describes the joy of life's simple pleasures? We have inat, merak, and ajde.
Yeah. Three words I think that you cannot translate easily to English, right?
Yes.
So obviously it's merak, in my
Mm.
opinion. Um, right? Is it merak?
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
is.
mean, Inat is also joyful for some people.
Yes. And I know inat is a Turkish origin. Merak is also.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
don't use merak to describe simple pleasures. It's curiosity in Turkish, but merak
Mm.
here. So you will see a lot of merak restaurants all around the Balkans, everyone. For example, Skopski merak, Mavrovski merak. I don't know, in Serbia, do you meraklia, right?
Yeah, merakli is the name for someone who enjoys
Yeah.
simple pleasures, I guess, like moments in life, I guess.
So many restaurant owners used merak as their name
Yeah.
because it
It
invites people to have pleasure in their
yeah, it's
restaurants.
kind of a part of kafana culture.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
an important word. All right.
good. And also inat
Hmm.
is Turkish word, Turkish origin. I don't know if you use it now in standard Turkish,
Yes, we use
but
it still the same way. So that one is the same.
yeah. So it means spite, I guess, in Serbian, out of
Yeah.
spite. And Serbs are famous for, I guess, famous
Hmm.
for doing things out of spite. Um,
Yeah.
okay, number two. What is the most common way to say cheers in Serbian?
Hmm.
Živeli, hvala, idemo.
Yeah, of course. Živeli is the
Yes.
answer. Yeah, I like
And
živeli.
yes, živeli, it means, I guess, to life or like
To
something
life,
like,
right? Život, živeli, right?
yes, or yeah, to life.
Hmm.
Like
Also, in other countries, nazdravje is also used also in Serbia, but
the,
not
but
not
nazdravlje, yeah.
cheers.
No, it means bless you when someone sneezes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Three. Which
Mm.
Serbian phrase means come on and is used in many situations?
Mm.
Snalažljivost, ajde, baš.
I think everyone knows this. Come on. Ajde. It's
Ajde,
not
or
Serbian only, it's
yeah,
Balkan word.
yeah,
Everywhere ajde works.
ajde or hayde. And
Mhm.
um, isn't it also Turkish origin?
It is.
Yes.
I don't
So
know, but we have ID, we say E at the
hayde,
end, but
yes. So
it
there
means
is an
come on, hurry up,
yes,
okay, that's fine. It has many, many different meanings, but
yes.
mostly come on.
Good. Which of these is the traditional Serbian dish? We have sushi, pljeskavica, and pizza.
Yeah, the options eliminate each other, I know.
Mm.
But pljeskavica,
Pljeskavica.
that's um, burger, right?
Yeah, like a Serbian burger, let's say. We have it all around, and it's a minced meat. It can be pork, it can be
Hmm.
uh, even lamb sometimes, or
Beef,
beef.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
with onions in it.
Sometimes cheese in it, right?
Sometimes cheese, and it's served with kaymak, ayvar. Yes.
Yes, kaymak and ayvar always on the plate with it.
Hmm.
And pljeskavica is also the same, you think, in Bosnia, in Croatia, or is
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's the same. There will maybe like for cevapi, they call it
Hmm.
differently in Croatia, I think,
Yeah.
somewhere. But yeah, pljeskavica,
The
pljeskavica.
shape of cevapi and pljeskavica is quite different though, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cevapi are small finger like
Yeah,
mincemeat
meatballs.
meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, pljeskavica is like burger.
Huge ring. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All
Okay,
right.
number five. What is the official script of the Serbian language, or maybe like the alphabet? Latin, Cyrillic, both Latin and Cyrillic.
Hard question because depends on the situation. You might have, in my opinion, of course. I think it's both, but you can never find a children's book in Latin alphabet. So
Yes. So
also in formal letters, I think mostly Cyrillic is used, right?
yes. So in the Constitution, it says that the formal official script is Cyrillic, and it
Mm,
also says the use of other scripts or alphabets is um, regulated by law. And
mm,
then that also means that Latin script is part of the standard use.
yeah.
So we give advantage to Cyrillic in like stuff regarding government, like
Mhm,
papers and stuff like that. And kids primarily learn Cyrillic, and then in like I don't know, I don't remember which grade, but immediately after Cyrillic we learn Latin. But
mhm,
our textbooks in school are printed in Cyrillic. However,
yeah.
books you find in stores, in bookstores, are I think mostly printed in Latin script.
Hmm. That's true.
Um, like everything online is mostly printed like shown
Hmm.
in Latin, so we use them equally.
Yeah. It's funny sometimes on YouTube or on social media, some singers even like they use Cyrillic in their
Mhm.
descriptions. I'm like, wow, it
Yeah.
feels rare to me, but it's actually, as you said, it's equal. Some people just prefer to use Cyrillic for
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
And even some hip hop singers might use Cyrillic in their social
Exactly.
media.
Yeah. It's easier to use Latin online because of the English keyboards and switching
Yeah.
between English and Serbian, and that's why most people use Latin script online.
Hmm.
But there are people that want to use Cyrillic.
Yes, that's true.
Okay,
Okay.
number six. Which of these sports is Serbia famous for? Ice hockey, basketball, cricket.
I think everybody is. already aware of the answer, like 100% sure. Basketball, of course.
Yes, basketball is football, for example, or soccer,
Hmm.
is maybe even more popular because it's popular everywhere. But we're
Yes.
not as good in football as we are in basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball is very um, frequent in larger cities, Belgrade,
Mm,
Novi Sad, Niš, and a lot of people play basketball.
exactly. And everybody knows my favorite guy, Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic, yes. And the last one, which famous
Mhm.
Serbian musician is known for mixing folk and modern sounds? Đorđe Balašević, Tomas Draković, Ceca.
Hmm. They will try to, I think our listeners will try to pick one.
Hmm.
But as far as I listened, they are all mixing folk and modern sounds.
Yeah, yeah, essentially. Even Balašević, I would say. Đorđe
Hmm.
Balašević is one of, I think, one of the best musicians and also poets. His texts and lyrics
Yes,
are beautiful.
agreed.
Um, and he's very different from Tomas Draković and Ceca, but he also uses folk. And as when I say folk, I mean music of northern Serbia, Vojvodina, which is
Hmm.
under the influence of Hungary, of course.
Hmm.
Violins and those bands you frequent in Vojvodina. Tomas
Hmm.
Draković is majorly pop singer, I would say, but also
Yeah.
has folk elements. And Ceca can also, that's like a turbo folk even area, I would say. But yeah,
Also for
you know,
Toma, when you say pop, like many people might think it's very active, uplifting songs, but Toma has very dramatic pop songs as well, like
yes.
very slow.
Not, yeah, not in today's terms. It's like pop in like 80s, 70s,
Yeah.
and that's like that popular music then.
Hmm. But their songs are really helpful when it comes to learning Serbian because
Hmm.
easy to follow. There's a rhythm. I enjoy listening to them. Setsa, I'm not that familiar to be honest, but
Yeah.
Georgia Balašević is my favorite in these
Yes.
oceans.
Okay, that's
And
it.
yeah, let's talk about a little bit what's next for Serbian learners.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
one thing that I really feel so happy about is right now. I mean, I started learning Serbian a few years ago, but right now, the source, thanks to social media, the source of uh, listening, hearing, and reading Serbian is becoming more and more. What I mean, for example, a podcast, like a Serbian local podcast for Serbian people, right? It was very difficult to listen for me. But now, thanks to YouTube and social media like Instagram, they are having these short clips where you can get at least the main idea. And I'm so happy that they also write like the text in Serbian, in Cyrillic, sorry, in Latinica.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's very nice. I can watch those short clips again and again and write down what they are saying, how they are pronouncing the words. So there are too many resources all of a sudden now online, I would say.
Exactly. That's very good. Um, I have a couple of tips when learning any language, including Serbian online, and that I've also found out when I was learning like French or English.
Hmm.
Um, the most important thing when learning a language by yourself is exposing it exposing it yourself to the language as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um, Listening podcasts, watching shows, or reading. Reading
Hmm.
might be the best option because it's slower. You read at your own
Hmm.
pace. It might be hard at first, especially if you're a beginner. So find material that's easier to digest, like children's books, children's TV shows, and stuff like that,
Hmm.
which might be hard again. There's
For
not
sure.
that much materials. Um, but children books are accessible in Serbia at least.
Hmm.
And then, if it's too hard as a beginner, and later on, if you need help with some grammar structures, find a tutor or ideally start learning by yourself grammar. But Serbian grammar can be very, very messy. It's hard. So
Yeah, so many
ideally,
irregularities.
yes, find a tutor. You can't go without grammar. You can, if you live in Serbia, you
Yes.
probably can. Depends on every student has different, profile. Some
Mm-hmm.
absorb language like a sponge, some do not. So it all depends from student to student. But you'll
Mm-hmm.
probably need help with grammar. And grammar is not learned just to learn what's subject, what's nominative, what's accusative. It's learned to recognize patterns in sentence
Mm-hmm.
structure and grammar. So it makes it easier for you when to make your own sentences or to understand why did someone say this in that way and similar. And using those methods, it's easier for you to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So those are first two tips.
Exactly. And songs. I mean, in addition to books
Songs.
and videos and stuff, songs to me, as you, if you like music and if you like Serbian music, it's you can listen to the same song every day and you can
Yes.
memorize the lyrics and then without knowing which padeji it is, you know what to say and how to say.
Yes.
That's really helpful.
It's very important to actively learn. Like it takes when you read or listen to music in language you don't know, Serbian, or watch TV shows, it will be mentally harder.
Hmm.
You have to focus more. It will drain you more. You'll get tired
Yeah.
more than watching other shows. So it's very important to do it every day, to
Hmm.
focus and have a notebook, write down things that are new, and it will be harder to do. It won't be as relaxing at the
Yeah.
beginning at first. Second, the thing that helped me the most are podcasts. That's why I started the podcast. I listened to a podcast and read transcript in
Hmm.
French, for example. It helped me enormously. I
Yes.
was studying French in school for like 8 years, I think. I
Hmm.
learned nothing. And then I did this for like a couple of months. I did more than in school. I learned more. So
Exactly.
that's very useful.
Yeah.
Um, so also read stuff online, like
Hmm.
um,
Even though
uh,
news, I mean, the websites of newspapers are good, but they are a little bit hard in the beginning because you don't
yes,
know, like they use very um,
professional.
rare professional
Mm,
terms and stuff, but it is useful in the long term, especially the lucky veste, I think are easy to like social life kind of things or about
yes.
fashion and stuff. Easier ones are definitely useful.
I- um, Either articles or like a Reddit is
Hmm.
very useful because it's a forum. It's an open forum where people talk
Hmm.
in a colloquial like way you'll hear people talk on street.
Yeah.
And you can also inform yourself about the culture, current events, and that's also important. Like
Hmm.
tip number 4 or 5 is to get interested into the culture of the country, which language you're learning actually, because learning
Yeah.
a language is learning to think in that language, and
Hmm.
it also is learning about the culture, history, news, current events. If you're
Hmm.
interested in that, you'll be more motivated to learn that language. If you're not
Yeah.
motivated at all, you won't learn. So you
That's
have
it.
to have a
You're right.
motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got that. I feel so lucky that I will never get time, even though I get really angry with the difficult
Yeah.
parts of Serbian from time to time. I still love it and I
Yeah.
enjoy learning new things about the culture. And also, like as we did in the previous episode, new TV series like modern ones. Of course, old movies are useful, but the new ones are also very good. I know a lot of friends of mine learned English thanks to Friends, How I Met Your Mother, those short
Yeah.
episode ones because it's easy to repeat and you're not going to be bored. They are fun. And also Serbian soap operas, I think also good for
Yes.
developing your language skills.
Yes. So that would be my major tips. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have some other stuff to add.
No, I think you covered it all, but staying motivated is the most challenging thing. But if you do
Yes.
it, it will pay you back
Yes.
quite a lot. Okay, this was a very nice season for me. It was one of the best, to be honest. I believe I can now kind of proudly say that I'm intermediate level,
Yeah,
at
I
least
would say
while
so.
reading listening.
Yes. I enjoyed it as well. It was a nice experience for me as well.
Thank you.
Um, and I hope you advance even faster and learn more and more. Um,
Oh, so much. I will make a surprise. Like, let's have an episode in advanced level for our listeners one day. But I will
yes,
definitely keep going and let's see what new ideas we will come up with and continue helping others.
yes. Well, thank you, I guess.
Thank you too. Hvala
Yeah,
mnogo.
and čemu. And we'll see each other, I guess, maybe one day for a cup of coffee or a cup of coffee if you come to Belgrade or somewhere
Uvek.
near. Yeah.
Sure, sure. And of course for you as well, if you're on your way to Greece, I live in Skopje, as you know, for
Okay.
everyone. You can easily reach out to me and I would be happy to host you around.
Okay, great. To je
Važi,
to.
to je
Hvala.
to.
Vidimo se.
Vidimo
Ćao.
se. Ćao.